Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Never a dull moment, huh? Jeez. Just when the short sellers thought it was safe to go back in the water. uh, welcome to the folks on YouTube. All right. Well, hey, Juan, what's up? Welcome to the room. Good to have you with us. What's up, all right? Terrence, X, Raj, Ramon, what's going on? Hey, Badir. Okay. Well, the good news, you want the good news or the bad news? First. Okay, the bad news is there's a lot of trap shorts again. Just what I thought. The shorts were going to weasel out of this. Oh, my goodness. So that's going to make the price action a little weird, but that's okay. We're used to that. We built this market on the last 5 years of short squeezes. So that's not a problem. You guys are used to that. So that's the bad news. The good news is the new contract likes the levels. Stayed at the Holiday Inn Express. It was the song, right? The Holiday Inn. Was that Chingy? There you go. So 64.87. I was looking for 85, 87 area to get tickled in the overnight. And it did. What was our low? 64.83 half. So it went under 85, it went under 87, and it popped back up. And now we are above that 66.34. So I think sideways is going to be the the modus operandi of the day. I think we're going to use that short bid, and I'll show you where it is. You know, people have been fading this market, and it's actually been working really nicely. And I was curious about 65.47. And I thought to myself, this time we're not going to do a look below and fail. And lo and behold, he puts out that news. So inventory was short, and then, boy, it corrected violently. Everyone's trapped short under yesterday's low. Sorry, Friday. That's Friday. Okay. Everyone's trapped short underneath that Friday low. And what else is going to happen is we're going to go and we're going to see. Okay, so this is Friday. This is Thursday. So we are underneath Thursday's high. Did I say Friday's low? Friday's high. So we're trading between Friday's high and Thursday's high. This is the cool thing about market profile because it tactically shows you, see, there's inventory here. There's inventory underneath Friday. And then we are right at the top of the cost basis for the overnight. So let's see if we can stay above this level. What is it here? Sorry, just when I thought my cold was gone, it seems to have resurfaced. Sorry, my voice is all scratchy again. What a pain. So, 66.76. If we get under that, I think we'll come down. And I don't think it'd be crazy to not test the gap. We are going to open on a gap, okay? We're going to open on a gap. We're opening outside of the previous day's range. So that means change. Change means business is different. So we're going to see if that gap, we're going to open somewhere around here. We're going to see if that gap gets filled. Okay? That's number one. Do we fill the gap? So there's a couple of scenarios. One is we fill the gap, drop back down into the overnight range, into Friday's range. Okay? That's one scenario. The other scenario is that we fill the gap, catch a bid somewhere here, and then do one of these. And the third scenario is that we just do one of these. The fourth scenario is that we go back and forth. So there's really four scenarios that we're looking for larger traders off the open. I'm kind of thinking sideways with maybe a test of the Friday high. Let's see. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Sure as hell won't be the last. All right, now we're going to look at there's some single prints above us from the 18th. If we open underneath them, they're still valid. Okay, because we went through them in Globex doesn't really mean anything. So I'm going to go mark off my stops. Let's go clean up this chart a little bit. Save those for later. So yeah, we took out all these stops. We've got a massive short position in the overnight profile. Excuse me. Let me see. I've got an area where it actually didn't print. Does anybody else have that? Between 52 and 72? Or is that just one system? So is there a blank area on your charts as well? Yeah, my other stuff shows prints too, so it could be just this. Yeah, some of them show prints, some of them don't show prints, so yeah. Because my Denali is showing that there are actual prints there. Yeah, doesn't really matter. Just watch the single prints. So we're going to take the cheap inventory that we took in Friday. Hey, Marcus. We're going to sell it up here. You can see already the overnight point of control has moved up from 34 all the way up here to 66.82. So I redrew the balance lines. People always ask me, JJ, when do you redraw the balance? When we get some wonky crap like this, that's when I redraw the balance. Right? When the market moves up 50, 100 points, I redo my balance zones. And that's what I said to folks in the room this morning. They said, oh, I'm going to stop trading. I'm like, no, you don't have to stop trading. Just redraw your balance zones and go to work. Right? Just don't do anything stupid. Right? Don't do anything stupid. Don't be chasing price like a dog chasing a car. You know, all that kind of stuff. That'll get you into trouble. These zones are a little big. right? They're really big. So I'm just going to sit back, watch. I've got another chart here. I'm going to see if I could find a smaller zone as we go into the open. Thanks, Dave. Yeah. It's okay. Just remember it's Monday, so if you have a little Monday morning brain, just relax. Take it easy. Let's see if it bids at 66, 67 half as it comes in. Just relaxing in the bath. Oh, that's funny, Dave. Oh, man. I told you it was going to be a weird week, weird month. We're going to take out this quarter with a bang, I tell you. Good, good, good. Yeah, Roden, if you're just joining us, I'm probably going to change it. So don't freak out. It's kind of a big move, you know? I mean, look at that. We went from under 6,500 to 67, 6,700 and change in what? 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, in 5 minutes, right? You got a couple of 100 point move in 5 minutes. Oh, you know. So a 32 point balance zone, it's not the end of the world, is it? Oh, Lord. Let me just, I'm curious. I'm very curious. If I draw the middle of these zones, what do they look like? It's not bad. Still, could be worse. As they like to say over here in the UK. Look at that. You can see the bids coming in right here. Look at that. So it's bid just around 66.73. Look how mechanical these markets are. It's just wicked. Look at that. And you know they're going to be sellers up here. So we just mark where the sellers are going to be. So when you're trading, you can actually trade. And you know there's going to be sellers up there. So if we break out this way, and then you can see that there's a little bit of inventory here, right? So if we break 66, 67, we'll probably come down to the 64 area. Yes, exactly. Exactly one. Usually I'd leave, like I set the cost basis and I leave it alone. If I had done that, then we'd be at 32 or 64 times cost basis. Pain in the ass. So I redrew one, but it's, you know, it's big, right? It's a big bloody zone. Not the greatest for scalping, but then we had a macro change, right? So you can always just go take another chart, clean that one up and go, okay, I'm going to look for a new balance zone on this chart, right? So let me sit there and watch. You know, you'd always just do this. This would be my bottom right here. So if you wanted to draw out a new balance zone, you got one right here. See that? I just want to make sure I know where the sellers are. Because you know they stopped selling right here. Boom, boom, boom. They stopped selling. Now where do they initiate their sells? Right? Would you use 8? Yeah, it's not bad. Now you've choked it down to 8 points. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's a seller at 80 and 3/4. Right? So this is what you would do if you were just sitting down to trade right now. Right? This is exactly what you'd be doing. You'd be looking at drawing a new balance zone, and it's a distribution. Can you explain how you drew the bottom part of the balance zone? Okay, Pollux, did you hear me when I said the bottom of these candles? Bottom of candle, those three? Do you see those? Oh, the first one. Oh, I was just spitballing. I was using these lows here and this high. And then when we came back, we kind of looked above that high. I was kind of spitballing here. This is probably not the best balance zone. Truth be told, that's why I'm redoing it. You see? So I'm redoing it and I'm watching to see whether I did a good job. Because when that happened, what I did was, no, what I did was somebody said, oh, blah, 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 there's news. So I went and looked at the news and, oh, crap, I got to redraw the balance zone. And I just did one really fast. Might not be the best one. That's what I'm trying to get at. So it's good that I redraw it when we open because you know what? I should be disciplined, right? Now, Monday morning is not the best time to be lazy, right? So look below and fail of 72 up to 74, 76. And we have now identified our seller. Our seller is here. So does this stuff make sense to you now a little bit? Guys in the room, ladies in the room? So I'm watching that 72 half, 72 quarter area to see how, you know, um, and I'll see if we get back and forth trading. Right? I could see that there's a position here, right? And you notice when we came in, we stopped right where that position is. Right? Now, a lot of people will look at this and say it's random. It's not random if you know what you're doing and you know what to look for. right? Because you'll look to the left and you'll see position. So let's say we do use this as a balance, right? Low, high, right back to low. Pretty simple, right? Now we double it to the downside. And let's see, because we got all these people short. Now we want to we got to backfill this move, right? There's no sense taking price up if you can't sell it, so you got to put it on sale, and that'll maybe bring in some buyers. Either way, the size traders are long underneath 65, 62. So whether they sell it at 71 or at 56 or at 88 doesn't really matter. Does not matter at all. Now, last year or the year before, I would expect the move higher to continue. This time, not so much because we do have a lot of inventory above us. Now, if you folks don't know what inventory is, right? It's basically time and volume traded. Hey, look at that. Not bad, eh, on that low? Bing, bing, boom. Okay, so this is working. Cool, cool. Alrighty. So, inventory is time and volume traded. So if inventory is above us, it means you've sold a lot of expensive crap to people over 66.72. They're not happy now, and they're puking it out. Do you guys understand that part? Yes? No? And that's what creates resistance. Resistance is created by the fact that people are selling to compete competing to sell their inventory. Woo, say that 10 times. Right? So if I'm selling at 5 and Juan comes at 495 and Moran goes 494, well, now I've got to compete with these guys. Otherwise, I'm just holding on to inventory I can't sell, which is not a very good thing in business. Right? Remember, that's why they call it trading, not investing. Right? That's why it's called trading. You take cash, you exchange it for inventory. Then you sell that inventory at a higher price, hopefully, and realize a profit. But what if you can't? Well, then you got to get some of your money back so you can go on to the next business transaction. That's why they call it trading. It's not gambling, and it's not, oh my God, I need to pray now, right? So we want to keep very, very disciplined, especially in these markets. Hmm. So let's see where we open up here. Where the hell did I put my chart? Ah, Eureka. No, that's the big one. Praying is not a good business strategy, Flex. I'm not knocking the power of prayer, but it's a horrible business strategy. You savvy what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't want to piss off people who pray. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not a business strategy. You want to make sound business decisions, man. Thanks, Anne Marie. Oh. Well, I hope it makes sense. You know, and then you also got to remember, if you are praying to a higher power and you're shorting the lows stubbornly, the higher power might go, what's with this guy? Why does he keep getting short at the low all the time? Help those who help themselves, right? Nice work, Cody. Well done. Well, I mean, if there was an all-powerful being, wouldn't he be, or she, or the being be going, why are you always shorting the lows? Like, now you're praying. JJ keeps telling you, like, look for the seller to go away. All right. Now, before I get canceled for offending everyone, what the hell are we going to do with this crazy market now? Oh, I got to say I'm short biased. I have to say I'm short biased. These moves are just there's just so much inventory above us. I really wanted to short 64, but I was flapping my gums. If it gets back up to 64, I'll sell a little bit and put my stop at like 65, 66. If you are short here in the 58s, 59s, I would target that 50. I want to see how well these levels work. Okay, there's going to be some short covering coming in off the open. They sold into it. Whoa, there's an aggressive seller at 66.59, ladies and gentlemen. There's an aggressive seller. I'm short at 58 on 2 micros, and I am covering 52. And the reason I shorted is every time we went up, if you replay that, you'll see there was an aggressive seller right at 58.60, right off the open. So there are sellers competing. Now, as we get up to 56, look for a seller at the open. I'll wait for the next candle. And, oh, I missed that. Just trying to short 52 1/4 and I didn't get it. Let's see, maybe I'll get a higher entry. There's a seller at 56. That's good. That's good. We can use that. It's kind of making me nervous, though, with the offer. The offer is making me nervous. There we go. I'm short 55. I covered 54. That was just one contract, though. Hit it again at 55 and covered at 53. Now, I'm trading the micro because I don't really... These are the first trades I've done today as well. It's trying, Alex, for that look below and fail of 56, but there's an aggressive seller at 56. The one that was at 58, they've moved down from that 58 level down to 56, right off that open. So if they get cleaned out, we might get over 56, but I'm still, you know, I want to see what happens. I've got I've got a morbid fascination with 24. And I want to see if we can get down to these single prints. And when we do, what's lurking in this big box of buyers? Yeah, see, there you go, enlightened trader. Now, it makes business sense to find the bid. Now, is this, what is that song? Is it real life or just a fantasy? Right? How real is the bid? That's the question that we all must be asking ourselves. And what I can do is, only thing I can do in this market is mark off where the sellers are. Now, when this next candle opens in 30 seconds, I know that there's sellers here. If we get above that level, then I know that you're seeing buyers and they're willing to raise price. But because we sold a lot of product up here, remember? That overnight point of control was up here. We we railed this thing all the way to 67.48. So there's a lot of trapped longs above us right now, right? There's a lot of trapped longs above us. Oh, it's not marked. There we go. There it is. Thanks for the heads up, Sadiq. There it is. There's your gap fill. Now remember, about that gap, do we fill it and do this? Do we fill it and do this? Let's see what happens. Gap fills at 43. See how they're front running it? Just front running. Now, if I was short down to the gap, I'd be covering here. I wouldn't wait for it to fill. That's just me. Now, there we go. It's filled. It's going to be a little responsive buying, but when there is responsive buying, the question you must always ask yourself is, where are they going to sell into it? That's good, Sadiq. That's good. Now, underneath that previous day high, right? Let's see. When it comes back up, if you're looking at that 43 area for a short, well, wait till it comes back underneath Friday's high. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick long, right? Remember, if you're long off of Friday's high in the 43, 45 area, I'd put some sell orders out in the 47, 48 zone to make sure that you're selling to that strength. Exactly, Pollux. There you go, Dave. Uh, Look, so you've got your volume point of control here. That's short covering. right? If you are long off the gap fill, remember we told you you could come down, fill the gap, find some bids, get a little long, but don't get greedy on that long. There's 56 and three quarter. Boom. Nice. Now your look below and fail is ready. Give it to the next candle though. Right? If you're not all long already, if you're looking to get long on the look below and fail, wait till the next candle. Wait till it stays over 56. You might have to pay more, but at least you'll ensure it's over 56, 57. See, because if you just emotionally bought it there, which I used to always do, there you're getting stopped out. That's good. It's a good market. You know, the candles are nice and big, and if you're a fast trader, it's beautiful. Get in, get out, get in, get out. I'll let them clean up 48 to 56. I have no business being in there right now. I want to see if this candle closes over 56, 57. Otherwise, I'm not interested in going long yet. There we go. All right. Oh, seller's still there at 58. Remember that seller was there at 58 off the open, right? You got to remember these things. They were there an hour, not even an hour before. What is it? 10 minutes. Right? You don't think they're going to be there again? They got size. See, there they are again. Wait till they clear out the 58s. Because if they could take out the 58s and we take that 62, that'll trigger stops, and we'll go up. See, I just tried to buy 58 and I couldn't get it. No, I don't want to buy it. Let it come back up over 56, 57. You know, it's okay to be a little late, but just make sure that you get your sell orders out there. Because if you don't get your sell orders out there, right, it's gonna be a fast market. See that 58 seller is still there. They've got business to do. Look, there's a bunch of them. Just be patient. Let the large traders work this area out. Sometimes you got to beat the crap out of a market a little bit before you can clean it up. Let's see if we can hold 66.50. Haha, there we go. Thank you. There we go. Long 48, selling 54. Flat. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it to drop right down here so I could buy a little, put my stop down there. I sold it pretty quick though. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't fast enough to catch the short, but I know that there's bids. I know there's definitely bids at Friday's high. I could see the position in that 54 area. So, oh, there's 72. So this back and forth motion did two things. It cleaned out these people trapped long, liquidating traders into wholesale positions, now being sold back into the retail flow for profit. This is how business works. Once we get between 72 and 80, there'll be a little resistance. Good stuff. All right, everybody make their money in the first 15 minutes? Okay, we're done. Time to go to the beach. No? Yes? I figured you guys are all so quiet. That's why you've all made your money and it's time to go. Go relax. See, that's the thing about trading, right? The sweet spot is to make your money and stop. You get stopped out on every trade, that's okay. You're learning. It happens to all of us. You're just missing something, so just take a step back, reevaluate. Remember, there's a macro change, right? There's a macro change. The market is trying to adapt to that macro change, and you can easily get run over in that. Thanks, Ebery. This market is going to test your will as traders. I've been through this kind of stuff where you're doing well and then all of a sudden the price action changes, or this guy says something, or some weird world event happens and then everything just goes to hell in a handbasket for you. It's very difficult adapting your execution to change. And it's something that we really, really, you know, that's one thing I focus on tomorrow. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we're doing another webinar. Those of you who are interested, and the webinar will be adapting to change. How to adapt your trading to change, how to look for change, right? And this is something that traders are never taught. They just thought, go trade this and do it a whole bunch of times until you either blow up or get good, right? So tomorrow we'll be talking about change. Exactly, illiquid. The thing is, the trades that I take, I get stopped out too, and I'll tell you guys when I get stopped out. But those trades that I take, I've taken thousands of times, and I've screwed them up hundreds of times. So that's the only reason, you know, that's the only reason why they work, and I'm used to trading quickly, right? Look below and fail at 56. You'll be looking for the 64s. There is a seller at 62. I'll have to clean that up. Even with the volatility and the big ranges, this market is very, very precise and mechanical and very well programmed. It's really, really well programmed. It's got good breaks. Thanks, Vinod. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of times when I'm thinking about taking a trade and I'm like, you know what? I screw that up. I do this every single time, and then you pause. Right? It's like, no, I'm not going to do that again. And that filter, man, that takes years to develop. Oh, I wish you could develop that in like the first 2 weeks. But you have to go through this agonizing trial and error, you know? Okay. All right, Mr. Market, what's next here? What are we going to do next? It's a good opening act for the first 20 minutes. What's Act 2? What's Act 2? Distribution? Big distribution between 66.40 and 72? Let's see. Hmm. I was watching a lot of, um, like Jordy Visser and the macro guys, and they were saying caution and uncertainty. So when the macro guys say uncertainty, the problem is every time they go and model something, then the powers that be go and change policy, and then they've got to go remodel something, and then the guy goes and changes policy again. So I'm sure the analysts probably haven't slept in the last 2 months. If if you're one of those people who does mathematical models for markets, they've probably been working those poor guys like rented mules. They must be sleeping at the office. Okay. Now, if we go and take that A period high, it's going to run stops. There's a position up here at 82 half, and the next set of stops are up at 66.98. So here's the thing: if we can get enough people to short under 56, and add to that short between 56 and 70, when they go to cover, we should do one of these. But the thing is, did we get enough to short and enough to add? Because once they realize that the supply is gone under 72, they're all going to grab, and you're going to get these big green candles. Let's see. Popping the top of 74 will be the first sort of telltale sign. There has been a seller at 76.77. So see how they sold into it? Right at the top of the red zone here. They sold into it the same place. That's good. Okay, that's predictable. We like predictable. Right? Right? Because if it had gotten to that level and just boom, I don't like that. I like a predictable market. I like predictable order flow. Where they sold before, they're going to sell again. No surprise. Yeah, definitely. Next execution lab will definitely. And Pollux, I was talking about trailing stops this morning. In a fast market, I would rather just get in and out and not try with this trailing stop business. Because here's the thing, brother, right? I use my orders, and you should be too because you were a market maker, right? But you guys were all electronic. See, we use our orders to tell us how well the trade's going. So on this look below and fail here of 56, for example, had you gone long at 60, right? Sell some at 64, sell some at 67, 68, sell some at 70. Sell the bugger on the way up instead of so as soon as you're long, go put your sell orders in because it is FIFO. There's that A high we're taking. Let's see if we get any oomph, right? As the Penguin would say, do they have any stroke, man? Right? There's our seller. Hello. Right? They're inviting us in for tea and crumpets here at 77. Told you there'd be a seller there. Right? Well, you're a market maker. You shouldn't lose patience. Right? You should have been trained to stalk and kill. So, look, there's that seller. Try it. Buy your position, throw your sell orders out there, just like you would do on a desk. Now, if we get above 78, we're looking for 80. It's that slow, creepy price action. The shorts, remember the shorts? Right? Don't forget about the shorts, right? It was like the Jeffersons. Everyone was shorting here, and then adding here. Now they're going to cover, right? So we're moving on up. I know you could hold more risk, but Pollux, you should never get out of the mindset of making sales, right? You want to make sales. You don't want to hold, right? Your name is not Futures Warehouse, right? You are not a Freeport where people can put paintings for 40 years and not pay taxes on them, right? You need to move your inventory. Making sales is the name of the game. Take a piece, one of those sticky notes, and say, I'm making sales today, because that's how you make cash, is by making sales, right? Making sales. Sure, the numbers are not as big when you're doing retail, right? Exactly. See, we've got to stop treating every trade it's like it's the last trade we're ever going to take, right? Like I'm sitting here, there's a guy with a gun. I'm going to take 3 trades. He's going to kill me, and then those will be the last trades I ever take. So they've got to be good. We got to get out of that mentality. Okay, back under 72, we're targeting 64 and 3/4. And that's why we lose the bid so quickly, because as soon as they start competing here, the short sellers are like, and they're going to drop their buy orders, right? What did I tell you? 64 and 3/4. Now, let's see if we can crawl our way back over 73. Man, this is a long A period. Again, you know, the other nice thing about it, Pollux, is once you get in the habit of always paying yourself, a couple of things happen. You get used to getting paid. So then you won't do anything to screw that up. We had 3 look below and fails, 66.40. Yeah, those are look below and fails one. What I teach people to do is to take the look below and fail from one color back into another so it had an edge. These are perfectly valid trades. You can take them, right? You can take them. That's not a problem. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. The sell orders are finished and the market rotates up. The sell orders are finished, the market rotates up. It's the oldest trade in the book. Yeah, George, I want people to get paid, right? I want people to get paid. The reason is this. When you're a retail trader, you're sitting in a room by yourself. Your family's off doing something else, right? They're having fun. You're looking at these charts. You're trying to figure this out. Everyone's giving you bad information, right? You're banging your head against the wall. Money is just disappearing from your account every day. And you're honestly trying to make yourself a living to have a better life for you and your family, right? You don't want a Lamborghini, all of that crap. I mean, sure, I mean, if somebody gave me a 67 Mura, I wouldn't say no. But getting in and out of that car at the age of 58 is going to look pretty freaking hilarious. You want to pay your bills, right? You know, you want to pay your bills. That's what I want. And I hate watching people lose money, right? And I hate watching people, the financial burden that trading can cause if you're doing it incorrectly is, oh, it's god awful. It's absolutely awful. So I would rather you make 50 bucks a day consistently for 3 months than to make 5 grand and then lose eight. Now I know that sounds like in New York they'd say, oh, those are little piker trades. I'm like, yeah, sure, they're piker trades, but you're learning how to trade. You're learning the business and you're building up your business skills. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's see if we could take out that 79 seller. Do we catch enough people short? Let's see. B period's going to open now in 1 minute. No momento. Yeah, it's hilarious. You see that video of that old guy getting out of the Lamborghini? Oh my God. He like literally has to crawl out of the car. It's hilarious. Still have that 78, 79 seller. They're still there like a bad cold. See what happens. B period's going to open in 15 seconds. Let's see what these characters do. Yep. It's creeping on that 80 and 3/4. I'll let you guys find out what's going to happen. I'm going to stay flat until I see a clear trade. Okay, there's B. Right to the point of control. Right to the 82.5 seller. Let's see, where do we backfill down to? 72? Let's see. Watching 72. I still don't see a clear trade. I'd like a look below and fail of 73. That'd be nice. Here, it's a fool's paradise right here. I know they're selling at 82, 83. They stopped selling at 78. They're still distributing. I want to see that B low, right? I want to see that come down, into this 72 area and then come underneath it and come back up, and then I'd buy it. Oh, no, there was a look above and fail of 80, but I did not take that short. You'll notice I've been a little overcautious on the short side today. There's that bid at 74. Alrighty, come on. See, they're just selling their product. Everything they picked up under 64, 56. Beautiful liquidation of it here in this balance zone. Right in the middle of it. See, I'm short biased and the candles aren't telling me that I'm wrong, so that's a good thing I didn't take that trade. Okay, there's that 70. That 82 seller. See how the seller is still there? See how useful it is just to draw a simple white line? You don't need a DOM or any expensive trading software. If they sold there an hour ago, they're going to sell there again. And everybody wonders why. Why, if they sold here before, why would they sell there again? Well, number one, they have inventory priced there, so they're going to sell it. Number two, they know that there are people that are starting to compete with them, so they're going to start dropping their price as soon as they get there, right? And if they see buyers, they're going to raise price. But that is the dynamics of what's going on at that level, right? You have multiple sellers at 82 and a half, and they're all competing to get out. Now, they're not being ridiculously aggressive, so it's kind of back and forth here. And the way that these algos are programmed is to distribute inventory. But look, now the shorts finally realize, uh-oh, we're trapped. So it's to the top of the next white line, right? This way, folks, you don't have any surprises. You know exactly where your sellers are going to be. So if you're long, you can get out. And if you're short, you got a place to put your stop. Because if you lose that seller, especially on markets like days like this, if you lose your seller, God help you, you're going to be off 20, 30 points in one or two 1-minute candles, especially if news comes out and you don't have a stop. This market, I think any of you who have been trading and who pay attention, you know, you'll notice that this market has had violent short covering. I think you'll agree with me, right? And if you're short in the wrong position and you get offside, it's just nasty. So why put yourself through it? You know, no reason to put yourself through that. There's a look below and fail of 72 quarter and 3/4. Give it some time. No rush to go long now. Wait for the next candle. So I could see my discipline starting to to drop here because I missed that 80 short. Let's see where we drop back into. See if we can hold the open. There's that 66 again. Price action's really not that bad. Could be a lot worse. Let's see if we get a seller in the next 10 seconds. It's poking its head back over 72 3/4. There's a seller at 72 3/4. Nope, no long for me yet. Ugh. You had a good day. That's good, Pollux. That's good, man. That's good. There's 72 and 3/4. Let's see. Nope, not yet. Well, if I pay 74 for this, I know there's going to be a seller at 78. Yeah, see, I bought it at 74. I got my stop at 72. I almost got stopped out on that. I'm long just one at 74 and 1/4. I'm out at 76 and a half. It's you know so I went in. I thought, am I fast enough to take it now? And I took it, and it helps you get faster if you know where to put your sell order. No, you put in your buy, you put in your stop. As soon as your buy is executed, go throw your sell order out. And if it doesn't get filled, you drag it down, right? Or, as you guys say, right? If if the product is in motion, right? You guys use that term on the desk, right? Stocks in motion. I got to take the offer, or right? You go to buy something and it's in motion and it's moving fast. Just click buy bid, or for me, if I'm long, hit the bid. The old sell bid works, right? The thing is, you should be very, very familiar with your order entry software, so you're not fumbling around, right? And you as a market maker should have that all down. Yeah. And what I do a lot of the times is I'll just sit there, I'll put it on sim, and I'll just keep practicing. Put in my buy, put in my stop, put in my buy, put in my stop. And as soon as my buy gets executed, boom. I don't know about that, Marcus. It might. That's why if it's in motion and it's fast, that's right. You go in the back of the queue. If it's fast, Marcus, just set sell bid. Just get out. Hit bid, get out. Alrighty, folks. Good question, Marcus. Now it's basically right. We've been open for 40 minutes. A little bit of a coffee break here, right? The algos are taking a smoke break while they're waiting for new customers to come into the store. Oh boy, somebody's went to cover their short. So something that's really cool, if you want to check it out, if you look here and here and here, these are where the shorts are trapped. Especially when it comes back and tests that area. Those bids are from short sellers who shorted, added, and they added here, and they're bidding here. They'll bid back down here as well if we break 64 and come down to 56. Just a little bit of what I like to call situational awareness. Alrighty. It's generally the case when you get a big short squeeze. A lot of the large traders are like, "Oh God, what do we do now?" You know. And if they get caught offside, they'll try and trade around and get put back onside. Let's see if we can hold 66.21 going through the day. It's really one of those markets where what I thought was going to happen actually happened. We had that liquidation, and then all of a sudden the news changed everything. So now we have to see how the market reacts to that news. What I'll be looking for over the day is, do we fill this area out between Friday's high and that overnight high? That's really what do we just go sideways up here? And that way we could distribute all of these last three sessions. We could take that and we could sell it up here. And those wholesalers, they'd make a nice profit, right? And we got another week to month end, so just in case things get boring. uh, the look above and fail of the cost basis about 10 minutes ago has a double top. Where they will, yeah, if you see like a double top even on a candle chart, right? That's sellers competing store, right? They're waiting there. It's like a dog. You know when like if you have a pet, your dog knows that the meat falls off the counter at a certain spot, he'll wait there, right? Just that's why shorts short sellers will wait at places where they know that there's going to be selling, right? So they can catch that seller, right? And the longs do the same, right? It's all about situational awareness. Do you know where the inventory is priced? And do you know where the other sellers are? Because if I'm priced the same as everybody else, I don't want to wait for them to start selling for me to get rid of my inventory. Right? Now I know the retail way to look at things is I want to hold the trade as long as I can. The professional trader thinks I've got 100 grand, I want to turn that grand 6 times today. Right? And it's like those guys. Was that one of these expensive watch dealers I was watching with morbid curiosity? And he goes, "It's a $300,000 watch. I'm only going to make 5 grand on it. But these one Rolexes, I don't know what they were. They were like 15 grand." He goes, "I can buy it at 15, sell it at 17, and I can do that like 100 times." Think about that. How do you want to do business? I like getting paid. I've worked on enough deals and taken enough trades and not gotten paid on them. So I'm firmly in the get paid column. Right? I'm firmly in the please pay me column, right? Because, sometimes you work for stock promoters, they stiff you. You work for public companies, they don't pay you. You know, that always happens. But that's why I like getting paid on trades. Oh. Like the old business I was in, if you work for people and you take their company public, a lot of times they'll try and stiff you. They'll try and not pay you. It's like you owe me 1 million shares. Where's my stock? you know, that's why you always need to get paid up front. And you want to get paid on your trades, my friends. You want to get paid on your trades. You have to. You guys are all quiet. Have to get paid. It's a moral imperative. That slow creep is telling me that there's some people trapped short under 84. So if you're looking for a short, I'd look for a look above and fail of 96, 97, like here. Definitely, Arcroy, definitely. Because on this move down on that gap fill, a lot of people short the gap fill. Remember, I said we could fill the gap and do that. And that's exactly what we did. So there are people who shorted, added, and now they're all, you know, going to cover. Good morning, folks who are just joining us on YouTube. We've got about 10 minutes left, but we're here every day. Now we're looking for that 66.98 stop from the overnight Arcroy. So if we could take that, everyone who's short in the last hour or so is using this high as their stop. So if they're shorting, I'm talking big traders. If we take out 97, 98, be careful. Because then we could probably go and test the 67.09 to 14 area. The next stop is up at 67.27. These ranges are not to be messed around with. They are not to be messed around with. You don't want to be trading these markets with no stop, like rodeo style. You don't want to go full cowboy on these markets. You know, you want to use common sense, good risk management. A lot of people are like, I'm not trading, and that's okay. If you don't feel comfortable, don't. But you still can trade. Just don't be a bonehead. Just remember that there is a significant size short, and you have to trade accordingly. Oh. So tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we are going to talk about how to adapt to changing market conditions. Okay, in the room. As a retail trader. And it'll be recorded. Good stuff, Tim. We're creeping up on 96 and 3/4. Let's see. Can we creep up there? There's 66.96 and three quarters. There you go. Almost to the tick. Well, there we hit it now. Looking for that stop. Remember, if we take out that stop, be careful. See how it's stopping? Let's see. Now they'll sell into it here. But if it catches a bid over 99, there should be seller here. That's a nice round number. If it accepts above 97, folks, it will try for that 6709 area where those single prints are. It's a little bit of supply. We probably chewed through it, but I wouldn't take anything for granted on a day like this. And 5 minutes left, eh, folks? Any questions? So if this is a look above and fail of 97 and you're shorting, I'd use like 97, 98 as a stop. If it crawls back over that 98 area, be careful if you're short. And I'm saying this because I know people are just dying for a short. After so many years of trading, do I still have losing months? Oh yeah. There'll be months where like I don't make anything. I won't lose a lot of money, but I just won't make a lot. There are times like when you're sick or if you have issues, personal issues, or I remember one month I had this heart arrhythmia and I was sick. Well, it was January. January I had a flu for like 3, 4 weeks and it affected my heart, and I was getting these heart arrhythmias, and I'd be like 150 beats a minute for like hours, and it felt like running, you know, um, a marathon. So yeah, January I barely traded in January. I just know, David, that after so many years, I know when I'm on or when I'm off. So how I do every day is I start trading the micro, and if my brain is working, then I'll switch to the mini and try and make some money. If I start trading and doing business in a small way with the micro, and and I take 2 or 3 bad trades and I make some really bad decisions, I will stop trading. I never push it. I just, I can't afford to push it because it takes a toll on your health as well as your finances. Hope that makes sense. So I'm very conservative. Some months you suck. Like there's some months that I'll tell guys, like I could call the market, I could see it, but when I go to trade it, it's like if I was dancing, I'd be stepping all over the girls' feet. Just no rhythm, or you're just not focused as you should be. All that stuff, just be aware of it so you can like manage yourself. It's hard to come to that point, but I would rather you guys get to that point before you lose all your money. I would rather not make money than lose money. But that's just how we were taught the business. Nice work, AZS. All right, my friends, I am going to see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, at 3 in the morning New York time, 7:30 in the morning UK time. Come visit us at the Trading Syndicate if you want to learn. We'll be happy to teach you. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you folks. Thanks for being nice in the chat. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great morning. Bye for now.